Hello, friends. This is Jay Hendricks with Powerful Thought Daily. Today, I wanted to talk about why Leo Gura has unified extremity. Now, before I go into that, I wanted to state that these are all my opinions and my experiences, and we all have authority in us to, we have responsibility to have our own experiences and our own opinions. So, any authority that we don't place in ourself is making us subject to that authority. So I wanted to say the definition of authority: the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. So you and I have the power or right to give orders to ourselves, make decisions for ourselves, and enforce obedience for ourselves. Okay? So, any disagreements you have with me, you're responsible for those, and you can research them on your own. A lot of these things I cannot prove to anybody, like a scientist can in his experiments, because that's based in sensations and observing facts that can be infinitely interpreted. I'm talking about the realm of consciousness here, and science itself cannot explain consciousness yet, and so it's not really practical to explain these things that I'm talking about in a scientific manner. I try to, but really it's up to you to experience these things for yourself, because you have that authority. And don't place any authority in anybody else. That takes away from your own authority and your own experience. Okay, so I wanted to get into this. Why Leo Gura has unified extremity. Okay, so I'm going to take the example of femininity and masculinity. Femininity and masculinity are viewpoints. How I would define them is femininity is the view of the other. Masculinity is the view of the self. So some examples of these would be: femininity is the view of the other, so people, groups, difference, consciousness, soul. Okay? Masculinity, the view of the self, would be things like the personality, projection, sameness, mind. Okay? You could develop a relationship between those things. So to synthesize these two is a synthesized non-dual center, and that is what the unnameable observer is, and it sees similarity. In the last video, I think it was the last video, I went over that, where there's sameness and difference. What is neither sameness nor difference, yet includes both of them, and that is similarity. So that non-dual perception sees similarity. It sees both simultaneously, femininity and masculinity. So when you take extreme femininity, it would be you're only seeing the other. So being unconscious of the self, it identifies itself with the other. I am the other. It has no sense of self. That would be extreme femininity. Extreme masculinity is only seeing the self. That's being unconscious of others. It identifies as others as itself. So being unconscious of others, it identifies others as itself. There is no other. So extreme femininity is I am the other. Extreme masculinity is there is no other. So, if you take two extreme ideas, now I'm going to use this example, but I'm not equating Leo to this example at all. Okay, this is an example of two extremities becoming one thing. So Hitler was extreme right. Stalin was extreme left. They were fierce opponents. The reason Hitler rose is because he opposed the Bolshevik Revolution so much, and then he went so far to the right that he promoted his racist ideologies, and the rest is history, okay? But these two extremes, the extreme left and the extreme right, Stalin killed just as many or more people than Hitler did. Okay, so both extremes are bad. And at some point, extremes they circle around and meet together at one point. So you can't, what I'm saying is extreme left and extreme right unite to be one madness. It's one insanity. Now, I'm not equating Leo to doing this, of course. I'm not equating Leo to Hitler or Stalin, of course. Leo is, from my perception, he's a great guy doing tons of good work. He has huge reach. Tons of people have connected with what he's doing, and for good purpose. I think he has tons of good stuff to talk about and a lot of good viewpoints. What I'm saying is that he's taken it's this same thing, this extremity thing. He's taken extreme femininity, I am the other, and extreme masculinity, there is no other, and combined them into one, which is I am the other and there is no other. Okay? So the proper balance of masculinity and femininity, which is on the other side of that circle, you could say, the extremes meet and then they balance meet. The balance is the proper unity is negotiation and mediation between the self and the other, which is true love and liberation. Negotiation. Negotiation takes account for the self and also the other and resolves the issue in a compromise. It's much more balanced and it's focused on agreement and identifying disagreements and seeing what we can agree on within those disagreements. And those disagreements shrink over time, and we get closer together, more unified, more loving, and retain ourselves and retain the other. So, this is the non-dual perception of similarity. This means separation from God is transcended. It is balance. And the veil between the two viewpoints, masculinity and femininity, lifts. The veil between the two viewpoints lifts. And this is symbolized in the marriage ceremony where the groom lifts the veil of the bride. This is a ritual. The marriage ritual has been passed down for who knows how long, but encoded in that ritual is what I'm talking about. It lifts the veil between the two, and the two become one united pair. Okay? So that's all my thoughts for today. I am expecting this will be a controversial one too. Again, I will state, Leo is a good guy. I am not saying he is evil. I am not saying any of that. I'm saying his line of reasoning is extreme, and it meets together at a point that can seem to be a synthesis. It is a synthesis, but it's the wrong type of synthesis, in my opinion. Okay? So if you like Leo and you like actualize.org and that is doing good for you, keep going. It's good. If you think I'm wrong, that's awesome. And I encourage discussion and respectful disagreement and agreement. And if we are discussing and it's not going anywhere, then we can just agree to disagree and move on. Okay? What I'm trying to find is people who are like-minded or people who are interested in seeing another perspective and progressing towards more practical things we can do in our everyday life, and so that this channel can be useful for discussion and sharing viewpoints, okay? So, yeah, you have your own authority. If the things I'm saying rub you the wrong way, that is your responsibility to untangle that. I'm not going to do that for you. But we can discuss these things, and that can help with that, okay? So, I'm Jay Hendricks. This is Powerful Thought Daily. Like, subscribe, click the notification tab, share these videos, and please, if there's any comments that are just there to be, if there's any racism, if there's anything that's not contributing at all, then I don't want you to comment. Please. I want this not to become a toxic environment. Okay? Thank you. Have a good day.